Welcome to Stayf Draws. I'm Stefan de Groot, a Dutch artist, and in this video I'm going to do a review about this new iPad. It's the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, 1TB, 5th generation. Let's first look at the ASMR of the unboxing. The main reason why I bought this iPad Pro 12.9 inch 1TB was because of this article on the site of Procreate. Savage Interactive produce Procreate, and I use Procreate, to paint all of my art. With Procreate 5.2 you can now finally create larger canvases, 16K by 8K, or 2D animation at 1080p with 900 layers. But you need the iPad Pro 12.9 inch 5th generation with 1TB or 2TB to make use of the 16GB RAM. Some of my work I do for museums, and then I need very large canvases to paint on. I do time-lapse videos and I paint everything in Procreate. So now with the 2021 version 1TB I can, paint on larger canvases, and I really need that because before that, when I worked on the iPad Pro 2018, I had to stitch up parts of an illustration and then enlarge it in Photoshop. But now I'm able to just paint it in Procreate with the 16GB of RAM. When you look at the specs of the iPad Pro 12.9 inch 5th generation with 1TB, you see how they have improved. I'm not going over all of the specs, but only the ones that are important to me as an artist. If you want to work on larger canvases, you only have two options: the iPad Pro 12.9 inch with 1TB or 2TB. Both have the M1 chip, but most important, 16GB of RAM. You need 16GB of RAM to work on larger canvases. The resolution of the 12.9 inch iPad Pro is 2048 by 2732 pixels. This is the same as the iPad Pro from 2018 and 2020. The only difference in the 12.9 version is the use of mini LED instead of the liquid retina. On my 12.9 iPad Pro from 2018 I noticed a yellow rim on the display. I have never noticed it until 2 months ago. It's a known issue at Apple with the liquid retina display. So they've replaced the iPad Pro 12.9 inch with the mini LED. So hopefully these burnt pixels won't occur in the future. So is this iPad faster than the other ones? The 2018 version had an A12X Bionic chip and the 2020 version the A12Z Bionic chip. This 2021 version has the M1 chip that's also used in the latest Macs. According to around 7,000 tests at Geekbench, the performance is around 1700 on a single core and around 7200 for multiple cores. Compared to the iPad Pro 12.9 inch from 2020 with the A12Z Bionic chip, the performance is 1121 for a single core and 4656 on multiple cores, resulting in a 50% higher performance. The M1 iPad Pro has an average medal score of 20,578, which is 71% faster than the 2020 model. This is all great, but how does that translate to the actual user experience? The only real test I can do is in Procreate, because that's the most process-intensive app I work in all the time. The first thing I checked was the file size. You really can work in 16,000 pixels by 8,192 pixels. Then you have 10 layers to work with. For print, you can create a maximum canvas at 100 cm by 80 cm at 300 dpi with 12 layers. If you want to make an animation at 1920 by 1080 pixels at 15 frames per second, you have 902 layers to work with. This is 60 seconds of animation. I imported 1 minute of animation at 25 frames per second into Procreate, and then you will have 36 seconds of animation with 900 layers. That's quite astounding. In Photoshop on the desktop, you can only import 20 seconds or 500 layers. Let's make a comparison between the iPad Pro 12.9-inch 2021 1TB and the iPad Pro 12.9-inch 2018 with 512 GB. On the iPad Pro 12.9-inch 1TB 2021, the largest canvas you can create is 98 cm by 98 cm at 300 dpi, with 10 layers to work with. With an animation at 9020 by 1080 pixels at 15 frames per second, you have 902 layers to work with. On the iPad Pro 2018 512 GB, the largest canvas you can create is 69 cm by 69 cm at 300 dpi, with 4 layers. With an animation at 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels at 15 frames per second, you have 254 layers. So with the iPad Pro 12.9-inch with 1 TB or 2 TB, you have an increase of 40% on the canvas size. When I painted this 3D helmet in Procreate on my iPad Pro 3rd Gen from 2018, I could only add 1 extra layer. With the iPad Pro 5th generation from 2021, I can add 40 layers. To see the performance when painting with the biggest brush in Procreate, I don't see a difference in speed. The price difference between the 4th and 5th generation of an iPad Pro 12.9-inch 1 TB is $300. So is it worth it? The iPad Pro 12.9-inch 5th generation with 1 TB is not noticeably faster than the former iPad Pros from 2018 and 2020. So if you have bought these iPad Pros, you won't gain more speed. The only reason why you should buy the 5th generation with 1 TB or 2 TB is for the ability to work on larger canvases and have more layers to work with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, because each time I upload a new video, you get a notification. Drawing is fun and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles!